I'm not gonna waste your time with an intro, I just want to let you know there is timestamps in the description if you're looking for a specific section, and with that let's begin. It is important to first assess what type of country you're playing. What I mean by this is that in Conflict of Nations there is more than just geography to account for. The game contains 3 different doctrines, Western, Eastern and European. You don't get to choose your doctrine and it is paired with the country you chose to play. Your doctrine affects your units' names, visuals, and each doctrine gets an advantage when using these units. For a Western doctrine: Armored Combat Vehicle, Theater Defense System, Attack Helicopters, and the AUKUS plane. Next for the Eastern doctrine: Main Battle Tank, SAM launchers, and the gunship helicopter. And finally for the European doctrine: Tank destroyers, strike fighters, and mechanized infantry. The next thing you should think about is who your neighbors are and what they are likely to focus on. What I mean by this is, if your neighbor is a level 1 and by day 2 he has still not built any infrastructure, more than likely he's not a threat, and inactive meaning you could leave your bordering cities unmanned, whereas if you see your other neighbor has built a level 2 air base and or naval base, your next step should probably be working on something to counter. This leads me to my next point. Whether you've decided you need a Navy, Air Force, or support-orientated infantry force, it is important early game to balance your economy and make sure your army upkeep never outweighs your production. I've seen often players with max-level infantry, no support, air or navy. Just max infantry, swarm their men into enemy territory just to get hit by a gunship and not have enough supplies or components to replace them and further no time to produce a feasible counter. It's important to think ahead in Conflict of Nations. A great example would be playing a match of Overkill as Chad, as in Overkill you win by holding victory sites, one of which is located just to your west. With this knowledge and further sharing borders with so many neighbors, likely it'll be a good idea to build the infrastructure to either build some heavy armor and mechanized infantry or a quick reaction force with helis and less infantry. What I'm trying to say is sometimes it is best to not just produce infantry en masse whenever you can and better to reserve the resources for infrastructure upgrades or research. Once you have an idea of a stack you'd like to produce, for instance 2 tanks, 6 mechanized infantry and either a SAM unit or mobile anti-air vehicle, you would only upgrade each unit to the point where the price of production doesn't go up. Until you have enough to only need to replace losses. Then upgrade as needed. Another great example of this is the Strike Fighter, costing 950 components and 900 electronics at Tier 1, but 1,500 components and 1,300 electronic at Level 6, a noticeable difference, meaning if you produce the amount of Strike Fighters you'd desire first then upgrade, you'll only have to replace losses at the max cost. Losses which can be easily prevented with my next point. The military hospital is the best building in the game, but before you go and build one in every city, it is important to remember: only one person in your coalition will need to make an upgrade one, as they work for your entire coalition. They are always best paired with an airbase, in my opinion, allowing planes and friendly units to land and heal. This is because healing injured troops may take a while, but in the long run it'll save you a ton of materials. It's also best to keep it away from coastal tiles to prevent naval bombardment.